Welcome back to Block TV. This is Trader's Take, where we take a deep dive into the technical charts to see what's going on with the cryptocurrency market. And as always, we're joined by our very own Joe Saz. Joe, straight from Vegas. Now, the markets, they're not doing so good. Tell me, is it all a gamble?
Yes, pretty much. Every trade is always a risk. I think that's something people should always realize. Even in a clearly bull market, we've had this situation where we found ourselves in a little bit of a mess after overextending ourselves into 10K. But after this consolidation, we found a lot of support. And this was actually where I started to feel bullish. And, we got the move, but we just didn't have the follow through again. This is starting to scare me, because if this happens over and over and buyers keep getting exhausted, then the next stop is going to be a consolidation point, probably below 9,000. So I'm currently seeing a little bit of action on the buy side here. This is the 5% band distance from price, showing that there's a very, very, very slight ratio of dominance, buyers to sellers. The 2% band is clearly owned by the bulls. Obviously, it's not nearly as bright as something like this, but we've also lost the 1% band, which is marking a local high. So I gotta say, Bitcoin, I'm glad that what we're not doing is bouncing down further and entering the 8Ks, because keep in mind that one bearish scenario setup was going to take us about 3 weeks, in my opinion, at least, to really correct. And my price prediction is 14.5 by April, or in April. So it would have been a lot of time to really clean up this mess. And right now, I don't want 14.5 to be my high target. I want 14.5 to be my low target. So this is right now. This is a wild ride. We had a strong liquidation here in this 1.39% move to the downside after a very optimistic move into the 10Ks, liquidating $22 million in longs. Now, that's actually not that bad. This candle at 1.39% has about a body, a wick double the size of the body, or, the wick plus body equals probably around a 2 to 3% move. So liquidating 22 million longs on the downside is actually, it tells me a lot of very degenerative gambling type market participants have probably been washed out of the market. So maybe that's what this was all about. I mean, that could very well be the case, and how to use liquidations as an indicator.
Mm-hmm. But right now, listen, Bitcoin is below 10K. Halving is less than a couple of months away. Are there people out there, does the market really truly believe that Bitcoin is worth less than 10K when the halving is right around the corner?
I don't think the market believes that. I think people are pulling their pockets inside out because they don't believe that. And that's why I think buyers have been overextended, because I always fall back to the theory that this is going to be an isolated event. People don't, outside of Bitcoin, aren't asking about a halving. They're asking about Bitcoin price when they think about buying in, or they ask you, maybe what it is and a couple other questions, but no one really cares about a halving. So this is, in my opinion, an isolated event where hodlers of the last resort and of course accumulators of all kinds are throwing money at this. So I think there's some that are probably emptying their pockets, and that's probably why we see this 10K being the area where people are certainly willing to pay for Bitcoin. But I think this might be a little bit of a seller's playground. But I want to move quickly to the daily here. And note that we had our golden cross, and this was one of the things that was running through my mind, was basically that this golden cross of the 5200 wouldn't react like exactly like the 50 and the intermediate and the short-term moving average, which is the 50 and the 128. So pretty much I had a feeling that we would shake out a little bit of hope before really taking off again. We are getting closer and closer to the TD sequential setup trend line. We avoided a 9 buy by a little bit of price pump action. Now we are grinding sideways into the 50 moving average. I don't think we're going to really hit that struggle. In fact, we might not even hit it at all. I am prepared to be very bullish very soon, and I'm glad that we did have this little gasp of air above 10K. It does show that the market isn't, basically in my mind right now, that takes the play from 96 to 92 off the table. If we pumped up to the 10,000s and fell back to the 97s, if we can consolidate here and rebuild that support like we did clearly before, then I believe we're going to be able to have more market participants willing to enter. That's going to be very bullish, and I think our next fight is going to be well past 10K, probably between 10 and 11K, which is going to be a much safer place for price discovery to really channel for maybe even a couple weeks. It doesn't matter, but as long as we keep the fight above 5 figures, I'm going to be very comfortable about the general psychological bullishness in Bitcoin.
Mm-hmm. Well, no, Bitcoin, we're fighting at 5 figures. But let's switch over to Litecoin, which right now is sitting at 2 figures, around $76. What's going on with Litecoin?
Litecoin USD, pulling it up right now on Coinbase, and we'll have it up. I was just looking at Ethereum. I would say it looks a tiny bit more dramatic. Avoided a 9 buy all the same, interestingly enough. It seems like it's not the only market that dodged a bullet for the bears. So I'm still looking at the same things. The more negative response to the short and long-term moving average crossover against the short and intermediate term moving average crossover. So it is really behaving in similar fashion with, I think, more dramatic moves in the meantime to Bitcoin. So I would say that I'm looking at this and I feel the same way looking at this as I do about Bitcoin. The setup trend line is going to converge right around in a number of days where the 50 moving average is trending up. And I don't think Litecoin's going to fight with it. I think we're going to create a bottom that has a little bit of distance from it and probably sets us up for a move to the upside. I really don't think we're going to be fighting the 50 moving average too much in a bull market, when we're moving up pretty fast. And I think, again, this has been mostly organic to me. If there is any inorganic activity in this market, it's probably massive bag holders shaking out over leveraged longs. And let's call that a 1 out of 10 level of severity in terms of market manipulation. If again that is the case, it could just be a sadistic whale on the side. It doesn't have to be a coordinated effort.
Mm-hmm. With Litecoin, you're giving a 1 out of 10 for market manipulation. Let's take a look at XRP and give me your out of 10 rating for market manipulation there.
Okay, so looking at XRP, we know that there's to me the only market manipulation right now that I would believe is visible in the Ripple XRP community would probably be misleading investors into XRP, believing that it's going to be used more widespread than it actually is. There's still a little bit more to be determined on that, so I don't want to overstep if I'm wrong. So a couple days from now, I'll probably start researching the whole XRP MoneyGram thing, so I can say they were wrong this whole time, and then I can hopefully get in a couple more XRP army converted back to something outside of there. But price is looking kind of interesting to me. Maybe a vague head and shoulders going on here. I still am not really bearish on XRP. There is a bullish crossover here. It could be 5 days behind what Bitcoin's doing, where we flared up and we might be grinding sideways into the 50-day moving average after a golden cross of the 5200. I would say it's very hard to tell right now, but even with the vague head and shoulders in play, I would say I'm betting on the moving average, and I would want to wait a little bit before making any strong deterministic outcome on XRP. But I would lean that this is going to sideways or up.
Mm-hmm. All right, well, Joe, give me your 60-second take on Ethereum. Go.
Okay. Let me just pull it up on the chart. And then,
all right, I won't start the
starts.
clock yet. I'll wait till you pull it up, then I'll start the clock. All right, go.
Yep. Okay. Pretty much I'm seeing two things, a channel and an ascending triangle. If looking at the ascending triangle situation, I would say that's very bullish. If we can get a body back up above this or near this $280 range, maybe, yeah, this $280 range, if we can get a body back up there, that'll be a clear sign that this is an ascending triangle to me, and I would include these wicks right here in this ascending pattern. This $280 target being the top end of the ascending triangle. So I would say Ethereum is poised for a bullish, very bullish scenario. In fact, looking down here at the convergence of these moving averages, this is the intermediate and long-term moving averages, both trending up, which would signal a very powerful golden cross there. So I wouldn't be surprised if Ethereum really takes off. In fact, based on what I'm seeing right now, I'm going to have to say I'm pretty bullish on Ethereum.
Well, you're bullish on Ethereum. I hope that when you're in Vegas, your blackjack game is just as bullish. I wish you the best of luck there. And for all our traders at home, I wish you the best of luck with your crypto trades as well. If you want more news on Bitcoin, technology, blockchain, and crypto, make sure to check us out, blocktv.com.
For more news and updates, follow us on Twitter.